my name is Glenn Dyer, and you were watching a Dyer-Situation. Today I'm seeing The Space Between Us. Now, I remember reading the description for this, and it was something like, the first man born on Mars must go to Earth and reintegrate with Earth society. And I'm like, wait, so is this an adaptation of A Stranger in a Strange Land? And then I read more into it, and it's like, no, this is a romance thing. I'm like, ah, damn it. Well, I suppose it makes sense. I don't think the kids today are really that into a very cerebral dissection of religion. So, but I don't know, still. Be pretty cool. Anyway, this is, I think it's based on some sort of teen book, so it's one of those books made for teenagers. So, I don't know, when you have a scenario like this, when it's like somebody from a different land, but it's like the future, so it has to be like Mars, you kind of do have to focus a lot on like the cultural differences and stuff, so you have to have a lot of imagination for what the cultural differences of a Martian would be. And I don't know too many teen book writers who can do that, so I'm skeptical. We'll call it that. I'm not saying it's going to be bad necessarily, but I just I don't know what to think here. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I enjoy it. Wait, what? I'm not sure that I'm going to enjoy it, but I don't think I'm going to hate it either. I'm not really sure what to expect. I don't know. Let's see if I get wrapped up into it, yeah, and develop my voice back. And I'm back. Well, that was a piece of shit, but maybe not a complete piece of shit. It's pretty shitty, though. I really regret putting the thought into my mind of A Stranger in a Strange Land. It's because, like, this movie, I have to admit, it had no chance of being that. No, nothing really does. And even though I dismissed it immediately at the beginning, still, the things that happened in this movie, I was thinking, I've seen this done so much better. So much better. See, here's the thing. The movie's about this, these people, they're building a colony on Mars, right? So they send off this team of people, 5 dudes and 1 woman, to be the people to live on Mars. At least I thought that's what it was. But apparently they're just visiting. I don't know. It's kind of convoluted, but he said they were gonna live there, but anyway. Anyway, the 1 woman on there, they find out during the trip that she's pregnant. And he would most likely have horrible birth defects from gestating in 0G, but apparently he comes out just fine. And looks like a perfectly normal person later on. But anyway, they cover up his whole existence so nobody on Earth knows that there was a kid born on Mars, because that would be bad PR for your colony. I don't see how, honestly. I thought that was the point. In fact, that's why I was wondering why there was only 1 woman and 5 dudes. What kind of stuff do they think would go on there? I don't know. It seemed kind of convoluted because, like, they were treating it like it was the International Space Station and stuff, where they're literally just there to observe, but he specifically pitched it as a colony, so it... whatever. This movie is not science. You find that out pretty early on. This movie is not trying to be scientifically accurate. It's about the culture clash and the emotion and the love. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, this kid grows up on Mars. He's the 1 kid on Mars, and he's raised by a bunch of scientists, and he wants to go to Earth to meet his dad and to meet this 1 chick he met online. Don't know how he met her, but he just did. He happens to know this lady online who lives in Colorado, so he wants to visit her, and he wants to do all that stuff. But the problem is, being born on Mars, ignoring the fact that gestating in 0G should have given him chicken legs, He looks totally fine. That's the thing. They even mention, this is the annoying part, they mention, like, his bones will be bigger than most people's and stuff like that, but looks like a perfectly normal kid. He does not look anything like what somebody born on Mars should. Like, not even close. Not even to what this movie described would happen. It was distracting, to say the least. But anyway, so, yeah, eventually they decided to insert carbon nanotubes into his bones and send him to Earth, and then they're doing tests on him, and partway through the tests he decides, they're gonna send me back. Don't know where he got that notion, but he just assumed they're gonna send him back, so he escapes, and now it's a hunt for him, because his heart's gonna explode if they don't. Symbolism. So yeah, that's where the romance aspect of it starts. Now here's the problem. This movie is written by morons. Now what do I mean by that? I don't mean the science stuff. You can get away with that kind of thing. That isn't really the point of the movie. What the point is the culture clash, as I mentioned, and the romance. Which is the result of the culture clash. Because he was born on Mars, he doesn't know certain things. Now here's the thing. When we see him on Mars, he acts like a perfectly normal person. I don't just mean he looks like one, like I mentioned before. He acts like one. Perfectly normal teenager. He has posters on his walls. He watches movies. He's really interested in all sorts of things teenagers are. And he acts like a pretty normal person, from what we can tell. But in order to throw in that stuff haphazardly partway through, once he arrives on Earth, suddenly he's Sheldon Cooper. Suddenly he has no idea what double meanings are, what sarcasm is. He has no idea what horses are, which is ridiculous. It becomes incredibly convoluted, because at the very beginning of the movie, we know he's a normal kid, so what would the problem be? There's a few things, like him not expecting the gravity to be so heavy. Okay. It's a little bright outside. Okay. But it just gets, like, bizarre to bizarre levels when he's just like, what is your favorite thing about Earth? Who talks like that? None of the scientists on the base talk like that. Like, the explanation is that he was raised by scientists, so he's weird. Because scientists are all nerdy weirdos. As I said, Sheldon Cooper. Now here's the thing about Stranger in a Strange Land. The human there, the person who comes from Mars, he was actually raised by Martians. Like the people who evolved on Mars. So his culture is completely different from ours. Which is a far better thing to work off of. Now, I'm not saying that the writers of this movie should have, like, introduced actual Martians, but maybe find some way to make him kind of jaded and not normal. A little more than that. Like, I don't know, this is off the top of my head. A couple of researchers, they desert the team and they build their own outpost somewhere, and they take him with them, and they practice their weird cultish stuff, because it's a colony, so you bring a bunch of people around, and, like, these people weren't tested very well. I don't know. The problem is they try to give us this, like, scenario, but sink it far too much in the realities of, like, NASA protocol and stuff, to where we don't get an interesting story. If you played it the way as presented, the story wouldn't be very interesting. So they cheat it, and that's the problem. I would have set this further in the future, just to make it have more sense. Or maybe something even more subtle than that. But beyond that, beyond just the general writing of that, which, come on, that was your whole conflict, is that he doesn't know... The whole conflict is that he's apparently doesn't know the simplest things, even though he should. But... yeah, anyway, even down to the just bare lines and stuff, there is a lot of cheese in this, just in the dialogue and all that stuff. Especially once he actually meets his love interest and stuff, the dialogue becomes so bad. So on the nose, like, I was the only person in the theater, surprise. I actually made a joke during this one line when she was like, when his love interest was like, "You can't do that! If everyone was open to each other, then there would be no conflicts or anything." Like, she went on a big ramble about that. And I was thinking, oh my god, they just decked me right in the nose. My nose is inverted from that line. Oh god. Yeah. So, is it awful? No, not really. Is it stupid, and you could definitely see something better, or read something better in this case? Yeah, definitely. Romance in this is kind of cliche, really cheesy. Science stuff, don't even think about it. And just general writing, not that great. Very convoluted. So, yeah, I can't really recommend this to anyone. Maybe a Redbox rental, maybe. But, yeah, there's very little appeal. So until next time, I'm Glenn Dyer, and you have been watching a Dyer Situation.